Hi, hello, welcome to another vlog, and in this vlog I'm going to be making a journal while also kind of just introducing myself because I realized that I've posted quite a few shorts videos, like literally over 200 videos of shorts, but I haven't actually properly introduced myself, so today I'm going to do that while I show you how I make this journal. So let's start off with the most basic question, which is, what is your name? And my name is Myra. So it's actually a pen name, but yeah, for the purposes of this video and for pretty much everything that I do, it's Myra. And in terms of what I do, it's obviously I'm a small business owner, and that's what this whole channel is about. It's about my small business called Inkling. But what I used to do, and actually what I still do, I would say first thing that I did as a part of my career is being an author. So the name Myra is also my pen name, and I've written under that name. I've written 3 books so far. They're all self-published. They're on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, and a couple of other sites actually. And I wrote 3 books. So the first 2 were a part of a series, and they were fictional, kind of like Harry Potter. They were supposed to be magical realism. And I have to say that looking back at it, I wrote that book when I was like 17. So that book was not nicely written. Like I have looked back at the book, and there were like mistakes in the final copy that are in the published copy, and they're just in there now. Like I don't know if I want to necessarily go back to it and change it now. I think I've kind of already accepted that that's just something that, you know, that's just the first book. I don't really know if I really want to go back to it and change it now. But I had actually published it again when I was 17. I wrote it when I was like 15, 16, and then I got to publishing it finally when I was 17. And then I took it down and I did a lot more, like I reworked on the whole kind of the name of it and even some of the other plot stuff. It was supposed to be a 3-part series, and then I made it into a 2-part series. I got editing done professionally by 2 people, and yet still there were mistakes in there. So that probably just tells you how many mistakes I made while writing the book, that even despite 2 rounds of professional editing, still there were mistakes in there. And most definitely I definitely do look back at it and kind of cringe a little bit when I kind of read what I wrote. But then again, it's also just a learning experience, right? So yeah, anyways, so those were magical realism fictional books. There were 2 books that I wrote for that. Then I have my 3rd book, and that was more so it was definitely a unique book. It's, I would say, non-fictional, and that book was centered around essentially what I do in this business, and that is letters. And so it's a book of 60 letters, and you're supposed to read 1 letter per day for 60 days, which would be 2 months. So 2 months worth of letters. And all the letters have different themes. The 3rd book is called Dear Reader, and again, it's addressed directly for the reader. So I think each one starts off with Dear Reader, hello, how are you? Because that is just how I start off every single letter, even for letters that are ordered through Inkling. Anytime I write a letter, it's always hello, how are you? I hope you're doing well. And the different letters for the different days, there are different themes. Some of them talk about anger, some of them talk about grief, some of them talk about happiness, and there are a few short point of view stories. There's quite a few different things for that, a few different themes for the letters, and there's 60 letters that too. So that was my 3rd book. Also, quick note about what I'm doing here. I am cutting book board. This is a kind of more heavy-duty type of cardboard almost that's used for hard-covered books, which is what I'm using for my journal here. Anyhow, going back to the questions. So Inkling, this is my small business. I wrote my 3rd book about letters, and then I started a small business about handwritten letters. Now, obviously for the book, that wasn't going to be handwritten, that was printed out, but I wanted the kind of main thing for Inkling to be handwritten letters, and I wanted each one to be unique, except for like certain types of letters, like the open one letters. That's, for example, like open when you're happy, open when you're sad, open when you're feeling anxious, etc., etc. And so those ones are, I write them once, and then after that they're just replicated and they're printed out again. But for the handwritten letters, specifically like the mini ones and the standard ones, those are only written when somebody orders them, and they're supposed to be different and unique. And as for how I actually got into doing this whole small business thing, one of the kind of major things that pushed me towards opening my own small business was just feeling like I was running out of options for job opportunities, honestly. So I am a Canadian, and you may have heard of how lately finding a job in Canada has been a little bit difficult. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe not. Job market can definitely be annoying at times. And so I had applied to a lot of jobs, and I know I'm definitely not alone in this, because there are so many people who have had the same exact story, or they've shared even like worse stories about their job experience or job hunting experience. So I had applied to a bunch of jobs, and I was fresh out of university, had my degree in business. And yeah, I just would not get any replies back. Like, it was just complete silence. They just completely ghosted me. And again, I know I'm not alone in that, because there have been a lot of people who have shared a similar experience where they would apply nonstop, and they've applied to over 100 to even 200 jobs, and very, very few of them would reply. And the few that would reply, either it would just be like a no, or you just really wouldn't get past the first interview stage. So yeah, I applied to a bunch of jobs. I got a few interviews, I want to say like one or two, honestly, despite applying to a lot. And then there was a lot of just rejections or just completely ghosting. And I think one of the problems that I had, or one of the things that I shouldn't have done, was applying through Indeed. I don't trust that website anymore. I'm pretty sure that they leak your data, but don't take my word for it. But anyhow, I just felt really helpless at one point. I was just like, well, I'm not getting any jobs right now through this, and I don't want to just keep sitting around and only applying and then just kind of feeling like I'm meeting a dead end where I'm not, like, I just didn't want to sit at home and do nothing. Like, I just wanted to be productive. I wanted to do something. And obviously I did a degree in business, so I knew that I always wanted to do some sort of business, something like that, eventually. But I think it was also in my head, I was thinking more so, oh yeah, this is something I'll do in the future. Like, not something that I'll do right away, right out of like coming out of university, but it was just this kind of thing of like, yeah, in the future, one day I'll do some sort of business or something. But then when I was kind of, getting at this dead end with the job applications and the job hunt, I was just kind of like, okay, there's no point of me sitting at home and only just applying to jobs and not getting anything out of it. Let me just see, what if I just start my own business? Let's see where this goes. You never know. And so that's when I started Inkling. And again, I have a passion for stationery and handwritten letters, which is why I opened what I opened, which is why I opened Inkling. But that job thing definitely gave me a push for sure. And that is pretty much where I am at the moment. I am just now trying to get my business out there. And it's funny because I started the business so that I wouldn't just be like at home not doing anything. But there are like moments. Again, I'm so grateful that I am even able to attempt to start a small business like this. It's just there are these moments where if I'm not really getting any orders yet, because at the end of the day, like, I understand, like, I'm still really small. I'm trying to get the name out there, but until that happens, or until I either improve my marketing strategy or maybe put more money towards the marketing strategy, like, there's gonna be a time period where I'm just, not really well known, and I'm not getting really, like, many orders. And sometimes it makes me feel like the same way that I did for when I just wasn't getting any call back for jobs or getting a lot of interviews or anything like that, where it feels like I'm just still kind of sitting at home and I'm not being as productive. But again, that's more so just things in my mind, right? I know that I am trying my best, but sometimes you just feel this ache to see the results, and you just need to remind yourself that you still need to lay down the roots of the tree. Like, before it can sprout and grow, you need to lay down the roots of the tree. So that's kind of what I'm just doing right now. I'm trying to lay down the roots of the tree, and I'm trying to really get the name out there. But again, I think I need to improve my marketing strategy, or maybe put like more money towards the marketing or something. But we shall see. That is kind of currently where I am at right now. Now, just to kind of start wrapping things up here, my advice to anyone who is thinking of starting a small business or chasing whatever dreams you have, it would be to do whatever you're comfortable living with. So it's not just a simple, yeah, just go for it, or no, don't do it, or this or that. It's do whatever you're comfortable living with. You have to live with your own choices at the end of the day. Whatever you do, you just don't want to regret it at the end, right? Like, for example, I wrote my first book. Again, I left mistakes in the final copy, but despite all that, I'm still happy that I went through with it. And also, it honestly didn't make a lot in sales. Again, I think it was more so just the whole marketing thing, and also it's actually more likely for authors, especially first-time authors, to not usually get a lot of sales. It's actually quite rare that somebody will get sales right off the bat. It usually takes some time, but anyhow, that's besides the point. Even though I didn't get a bunch of sales and that book didn't do super well, I'm still happy that I went through with writing it and publishing it. Regardless of the outcome, I am still happy, and I'm happy that I don't have to regret, not doing it and thinking about the what ifs, this, that, blah, blah, blah. Because if I didn't do it, then maybe in the future I would think, but what if I had published this? What if it had become a one-hit wonder? What if it did instantly become popular? I don't have to live with those thoughts anymore, right? Because I know that whatever it is, at least I tried. I genuinely tried. And so I'm happy with that decision, and I'm comfortable living with the fact that I saw it through, right? Now, for some people, everybody's situation is different. Financially, mentally, emotionally, everybody's situation is different. So it's not as always simple as just do it. Sometimes you do need that push, and so you just need somebody to just tell you, like, yeah, just go for it, just do it. But realistically, you also have to think about whatever you're comfortable living with. So main thing is, don't regret it. If you are comfortable with having this idea of starting a business but then not going through with it, if that's what you're comfortable with, then sure, don't do it. But if you really feel like 5 years down the line you're gonna genuinely regret it a lot, then go for it. So final advice, do whatever you're comfortable living with. You have to live with your decisions at the end of the day. And with that, I will start wrapping up this video and saying goodbye. This is the journal, by the way. Let me just kind of go back to this journal. I think I'm done with the Q&A. Once you make the case, which as you guys were seeing the process, once you're done making the hardcover outside case, you have to glue the pages to it. So the pages itself are already glued, and then you just need to take the end piece of the or the last piece or page, and then you glue the book to that. which you can see here I'm applying glue, and then I'm gonna take the last page and I'm also actually applying a little bit of glue to that. And this part, one of the sides I had done perfect and the other side I had slightly messed up, so just be a little careful when you're applying glue that you're adhering the full page and there's no gap in the middle. I found that there was a little bit of a gap in mine, but that can also be fixed if you kind of fix it quickly. If you let it dry, then yeah, there's no fixing that. Luckily for me, also, I was just giving this to a family member, so it was fine. I was giving it to my sister, she really didn't care, but you can see a little bit of gap there. If you let it dry like that, it's gonna stay like that. So just make sure when you're gluing the pages that there's no like gap or space. And that is pretty much it. Have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video.